Aloha, this is Dr. Martina, your online sex therapist and sex educator. Today I want to introduce to you the two totally different sex drive types. I bet you didn't even know that there are two different types, and also that if you want to have an active sex life, that you need to be able to identify your type, and that's exactly what we're going to do today in this video. I am very excited to bring you this significant aha moment in current sex education. Emily Nagoski is a fascinating young woman. She's a best-selling author and a teacher of women's sexuality at Smith College. She broke down the results of this study about sex drive, and she broke it down in her fabulous book, Come As You Are, where she introduces you to two different sex drive types, two different ways we get turned on and ready for sex. Let me introduce you to that. One is in our head and called mental desire, and the other one is in our body called physical arousal. Now the signs for mental desire is very simple. Sex sounds good. Now the signs for physical arousal are our nipples get hard, our breath deepens, our heart rate increases, and we start having genital blood flow. Now that genital blood flow produces further signs in a man, an erection, and it tightens the testicle and lifts them. And with women, it produces lubrication, and for postmenopausal women, it produces a crippling that we feel in our vagina because of that blood flow. Now, most people think that desire and arousal are the same thing and that both should happen at the same time. In other words, suddenly you should feel interested in sex and your body should be perfectly ready to have sex instantly at that moment, and all of that should happen naturally. But in reality, mental desire and physical arousal happen separately, and you can identify what sex drive type that you are by asking yourself where you initially feel getting interested in getting intimate. Is it in your head or is it in your body? And this is how they came up with two different sex drive types. If you are a spontaneous type, you register mental desire first and then physical arousal second. If you are the responsive type, you feel physical arousal first and then mental desire second. So let me introduce to you first to the spontaneous type. So these are the trademarks for the spontaneous type. Maybe that will help you identify where you belong. You are probably a spontaneous type if, and I'm going to read this from the book, you desire sex at random times during the day, like mowing the lawn or in the middle of a work meeting. You feel the desire for sex before your body responds, before an erection or before lubrication or any other physical signs. You are typically the one who initiates sex in your relationship. You seem to want sex more frequently than your partner. The key word here is same. You can feel turned on in many different situations after a fight, when the in-laws just stopped over. Really no problem for the spontaneous type. Now to the responsive type, which is the exact opposite. Let's look at the trademarks for the responsive type. You rarely think about sex. Sex doesn't sound tempting until you're getting started or until you're in the middle of it. Sometimes at the end of sex you think, that was fun, why don't I want that more often? You rarely initiate sex with your partner. You seem to want sex less frequently than your partner. It feels like the situation needs to be just right for you to feel turned on. Now with that said, the two types are spontaneous desire, feel turned on, then start having sex. Responsive desire, start having sex, then feel turned on. You might have wondered if some are prone more to one type over the other. Now, generally speaking, men are more the spontaneous type and women are more the responsive type. But every person can experience both types. But because we're habitual and lazy, we just lean towards one, and if we feel comfortable there, then we stay there. But we can definitely exercise both. Now, most people think that the spontaneous type is better because that's what we see in the movies. And if you cannot come up with a desire to have sex out of thin air, then there has to be something wrong with you. But in actuality, neither one of them is better than the other. They are just different. Now, as you can imagine, joy and challenges come with both sex drives. The joy of having spontaneous desire is that it can be a lot of fun. We are stressed. We have a lot of stressful thoughts, and taking a little vacation with a mental sexy thought can be a lot of fun. Now, the joy of the responsive sex drive is that it invites you to be more connected with your body, because that's where the physical stimulation needs to happen in order for you to feel physical arousal. So that sounds like a good time too. Now, the challenges from my practice, I'm learning that the spontaneous type deals with can deal with some performance anxiety. You know, mentally they're ready and they want to have sex now, but physically their body is just not there yet. And then of course embarrassment happens, and which is unnecessary, but it happens because we do have some ego involved there, and then it can be quite a challenge to feel that way, to have that kind of a sex drive. The challenge with the responsive sex drive is that they don't even know that that sex drive exists. They just think that their libido is low, that they really don't want sex, or they can't bring it up, they can't have sex because it's not part of them, but that is not true. They just need to be physically stimulated in order to get aroused, so then they can kick into their sex drive to actually wanting to have sex. As you can see, there is no worse or better, there is just different, and it can really help if you know your type, your sex drive type. So I'm going to leave you with these 3 questions. What sex drive do you think you have? What sex drive do you think your partner has? And how have both of your sex drives affected your relationship? Wouldn't that be fun to find out? Figure that out, and if you need any help, as always, give me a call. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next week.